Hey everyone, welcome to a deep dive today
Hmm.
into something pretty fascinating, and I think you're going to find it really valuable too.
Yeah.
We are going to be exploring the idea of purpose,
Hmm.
how to tap into it, what it might look like for you, especially, when everything around us seems to be changing so rapidly. It's like the world's on fast forward, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And you're trying to find your footing amidst all the chaos.
Definitely a common feeling,
Personally.
wanting that sense of direction and stability
Yeah.
when everything feels in flux.
Absolutely. So let's dive into some really interesting concepts about purpose.
Okay.
Starting with this idea that your body itself
Okay.
can be like a compass,
Hmm.
pointing you towards what resonates with you.
Right.
Have you ever noticed how your energy shifts depending on what you're doing?
Oh, yeah, like feeling energized and excited by some activities while others just leave you feeling drained and depleted.
Yes, exactly. It's
Hmm.
almost as if your body is giving you real-time feedback,
Mm.
guiding you towards or away from certain paths. Think of it like your intuition,
Right.
speaking through your physical sensations.
That's a great way to put it. Those gut feelings we often talk about, I think, are often tied to these energetic shifts. It's
Yeah.
like your body has this innate wisdom trying to steer you in the right direction.
Okay, so how do we actually tune in to those signals?
Right.
It can't be as simple as just going with whatever feels good in the moment, can it?
Not necessarily, no. It's more about paying attention to patterns over time.
Okay.
What consistently energizes you, what drains you, what leaves you feeling aligned,
Right.
and what creates resistance.
Yeah.
By noticing these trends, you can begin to decipher your body's compass.
So it's not about avoiding discomfort altogether, but recognizing when that discomfort is signaling a misalignment with your purpose.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that leads us to another interesting concept. The different paths we can choose to take in life. You might resonate with the path that's all about expansive energy and love, a path where your actions are fueled by passion and a deep sense of connection.
Right. And I imagine there are other paths that might seem tempting, but ultimately lead us astray.
Precisely, some people might find themselves drawn to a path driven by ego, chasing external validation achievements, material possessions to fill a void within. It's a path that can feel alluring, but often leaves you feeling empty in the long run.
So it's important to discern between a purpose that's driven by a genuine desire to contribute and one that's fueled by ego or the need for approval.
Absolutely. And then there's the path that's shaped by societal expectations.
Right.
The shoulds and oughtas that we absorb from our culture and upbringing. This path can limit us by keeping us confined to what's considered acceptable or expected, even if it doesn't truly resonate with who we are.
It's like we're following someone else's script instead of writing our own.
Exactly. And that brings us to a powerful idea that's often described using the analogy of a frog in water. Just like the frog's movements create ripples that affect its environment, your internal state, your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs shape the reality you experience. Think of it like your unique, energetic frequency influencing the world around you.
So the more we align with our authentic selves, the more we're operating at a higher frequency, attracting experiences that resonate with our true nature.
That's the idea. Authenticity is like tuning into your most vibrant, powerful self, allowing you to move through life with greater ease flow and synchronicities.
That makes sense, but
Uh,
honestly, staying true to yourself can feel really challenging,
Yeah.
especially when you're bombarded with external opinions and judgments.
Right.
How do you deal with all that noise and pressure to conform?
It's definitely a challenge, especially in today's world where everyone has an opinion, but here's a way to reframe criticism. Instead of taking it personally, try to understand the perspective of the person offering it.
Okay.
What might be motivating their judgment or critique?
So it's more about them than it is about me.
Mhm.
I like that shift in perspective.
Exactly. Their opinion is often a reflection of their own beliefs and experiences, not necessarily a judgment of your worth.
That's a really helpful reminder. So instead of getting caught up in seeking external validation, we should focus on what truly feels aligned with our inner compass, even if it goes against the grain.
Precisely. You are the author of your own story. And speaking of different perspectives, let's talk about this perceived conflict between science and spirituality,
Yeah.
a topic you raised earlier.
Absolutely.
It's a fascinating area to explore, don't you think?
Absolutely. It's like there's this constant debate between those who demand concrete proof and those who embrace intuition and subjective experiences. How do we navigate these seemingly opposing views?
I think critical thinking is crucial here.
Okay.
Whether it's science or spirituality, blindly accepting dogma without questioning can lead us down a path of limited understanding.
Right.
It's important to approach both with a healthy dose of skepticism and a willingness to experiment and see what resonates with your own personal experience.
So it's less about choosing sides and more about finding a balance between those two approaches, embracing both logic and intuition.
Exactly. In fact, some of the greatest scientific minds throughout history have recognized the limitations of purely materialistic perspectives. There's a famous quote by Nikola Tesla where he talks about the need for science to embrace spirituality if it wants to truly understand the universe.
That's really interesting, and it leads us to another thought-provoking concept.
Okay.
The idea that our bodies are like microcosms of the universe. Have you ever thought about how observing our own bodily processes, even things like illness or healing, can offer insights into how to navigate larger global challenges?
It's a fascinating analogy. What if we viewed societal conflicts, environmental crises, and political turmoil not as isolated events, but as reflections of our collective state of being?
Wow.
Just like our bodies go through periods of imbalance and disease, perhaps these challenges are part of a larger process of growth and evolution for humanity as a whole.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack. It's like zooming out and seeing the bigger picture, recognizing that we're all interconnected and that what happens on a personal level is mirrored on a global scale.
Exactly. And this perspective invites us to reframe our understanding of these challenges instead of feeling overwhelmed or helpless. Perhaps we can view them as opportunities for collective healing and transformation.
Okay. I'm definitely going to need to sit with that one for a while.
Yeah.
But I'm already feeling a shift in my perspective.
Okay.
Moving away from fear and towards a sense of possibility.
That's a great place to be. And it's a reminder that we have more agency than we often realize.
I'm eager to explore that further. This has already been so insightful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really has.
Yeah, it's been great.
I'm excited for more.
Me too.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It really is empowering when you start to see those connections.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of something we touched on earlier.
Okay.
That tension between what we personally desire and what society expects of us.
Oh, yeah, that feeling of being pulled in a million different directions.
Yeah.
Like, should you pursue a creative passion, even if it means less financial stability?
Yeah.
Or stick with a secure job that doesn't really light you up inside?
Right.
Ugh, the pressure is
Like,
real.
so many of us get caught in that trap of trying to meet external expectations. But what if those expectations aren't actually aligned with our true purpose? What if in trying to please everyone else, you end up silencing your own inner voice?
It's almost as if you're living someone else's script instead of writing your own.
Exactly. And that's where the ego can really trip you up.
Yeah.
It craves recognition, validation, those external markers of success.
Right.
But true purpose often lies in something much deeper.
Okay.
Something that transcends those superficial desires.
So how can you tell the difference between a purpose that's driven by ego and one that's truly aligned with your authentic self?
It's a process of peeling back the layers, asking yourself some tough questions.
Right.
What truly motivates you?
Yeah.
What are you willing to sacrifice for? What brings you a sense of fulfillment that isn't dependent on external rewards or recognition?
It sounds like it takes a lot of introspection and maybe some courage to be really honest with yourself.
It does, but it's also incredibly liberating.
Yeah.
Once you start shedding those external pressures and tuning in to your own inner compass, you begin to operate from a place of authenticity.
And that's where the magic happens, right? Where things start falling into place and you feel more aligned with the flow of life.
Absolutely. You start attracting people and opportunities that resonate with your true frequency. It's as if the universe conspires to support you when you're aligned with your purpose.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together.
Yeah.
We've got our body as a compass,
Right.
guiding us with physical sensations and intuition. We've got these different paths. We can choose each with its own set of challenges and rewards. And we've got this idea of frequency and authenticity shaping the reality we experience.
Yeah.
But how do you navigate a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable, even when you're trying to follow your inner compass?
That's where it becomes even more crucial to cultivate inner strength and resilience.
Right.
You need a strong sense of self to stay grounded amidst the turbulence of life.
So it's not about finding a perfect path or avoiding challenges altogether, but rather developing the skills to navigate whatever comes your way.
Exactly. Those skills come from self-awareness.
Okay.
Understanding your strengths and weaknesses, being willing to learn and adapt as you go.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that even setbacks can be valuable lessons propelling you forward on your journey.
That's reassuring, especially when the world feels so uncertain. It's like instead of feeling overwhelmed by change, you can embrace it as an opportunity for growth.
Yes, and it all comes back to that idea agency.
Okay.
Remembering that you have more control over your experience than you might realize. You can choose how you respond to challenges, how you interpret events, and ultimately how you shape your own reality.
So instead of feeling powerless in the face of change, you can actively participate in creating the world you want to see. That's an incredibly empowering thought.
Absolutely.
And it brings us back to that image of the body as a microcosm of the universe.
It does. If your body is a reflection of the larger world,
Yeah.
and you have the power to heal and transform yourself, then imagine the impact you can have on the world around you.
Right, but how do you bridge that gap between personal transformation and collective change?
Yeah.
It's easy to feel like your individual actions are just a drop in the ocean.
That's a valid point, but think about it this way. If the world is indeed a reflection of our collective vibration, then each individual shift in frequency contributes to a larger shift in consciousness.
So it's not just about finding your own purpose, but about contributing to a collective purpose, something larger than yourself.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that we're all interconnected.
Right.
And that each of us has a role to play in creating a world that's more aligned with our shared values.
I love that shift in focus from me to we.
It feels more expansive, more hopeful.
It is, and it empowers you to see yourself as an agent of change.
Okay.
It's no longer about waiting for someone else to fix the problems of the world.
Right.
It's about taking responsibility for your own sphere of influence and recognizing that even small acts of kindness, courage, or creativity can have a ripple effect.
Okay. I'm definitely feeling a surge of inspiration right now. It's amazing how shifting your perspective can completely change how you feel about things. At the beginning of this deep dive, I was feeling a bit overwhelmed by all the change and uncertainty in the world. But now I'm feeling this sense of, I don't know, hope, excitement, maybe a bit of both.
That's the power of aligning with your purpose.
Yeah.
It infuses your life with a sense of meaning, direction, and possibility.
Yeah.
Even when things are tough, you have this inner compass guiding you, reminding you that you're on the right track.
And we all have that compass within us, right?
Yeah.
It's just a matter of learning to listen to it. We do. It's about learning to trust its whispers, to have the courage to follow its guidance. And remember, even when you stumble, even when you get lost, you always have the power to course correct and realign yourself with your true north.
This has been such an insightful conversation. Thank you so much for guiding us through this deep dive.
My pleasure. And remember, the journey of discovering and living your purpose is ongoing, is a process of continuous exploration, growth, and transformation.
Right.
Embrace the adventure.
That's exactly what I plan to do. And to all of you listening, I hope you'll join me on this journey of self-discovery. We've got this.